Austin, you made it, man.
I made it.
And some people don't know about the sacrifices you and your family made to get to this spot on Saturday. And knowing everything you went through, the thoughts in your mind before you got cast about whether or not you're even going to be a part of this show, to be one win away from getting back in. What is this moment? What is this fight week like for you?
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm very excited to be here in this position. You know, the last 2 years have been rough to say the least, and to have this opportunity and then make the best of it. And I'm right on the doorstep of finishing off and winning the whole thing. So I'm excited.
Even just the emotional toll that the season can take on you, like being away from your family, having to make weight twice and win twice, and then fight one of the closest people on your team to even earn the spot in the finale. Can you describe what this whole experience was like in the house as a competitor?
Yeah, it's such a crazy experience. It's unlike any fight experience I've ever, gone through. Being away, cut off from the world, and then living in a house of random people you don't know, and just not being allowed to leave or do anything, have any form of entertainment or anything like that. It's just such a different fight experience, and it's you really can't fully grasp what it's like till you go through it, and it's crazy, but it helps you grow in the end. So it's cool.
What has been sort of your family's reaction to all of this now that they've seen that you made it to the final? You couldn't keep it all inside anymore.
Yeah.
They saw the results. Like, what was their reaction to all of it?
Everyone's really excited, and it's funny every episode. Like everyone's like, "Man, I can't believe you're on TV." It's really surreal. It's I don't know. It's crazy.
You get Kurt Holobaugh, who has had two absolutely insane fights on the show, the comeback win over Lee Hammond, and then that just ridiculous fight with Jason Knight. What do you think of the matchup with Kurt, and what have you made of what he did on the show in these two insane fights he had?
Yeah, I mean, he's in a similar boat as me. Really, all the veterans were, we're all fighting to make our way back, and he that big come behind win in his first fight, and then the great performance he put in his second fight. I know he's going to bring a great fight to me in this finale, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Obviously, Kurt wants to get back into the UFC just like yourself. He's put in the work, still looking for his first official UFC win, but considering all these hurdles that you had to jump over mentally before and during the show, physically and in between, what will this moment mean to you, and do you feel like you want and need this more than he does?
It's always hard to say what you feel is more important, bigger than what another person might feel, because I'm sure it's important to them as well. So at the end of the day, I think it comes down to being who's the better athlete, who's more prepared physically, mentally. And obviously, wanting it more is a thing too, but I'm sure he wants it also. So, it comes down to that thin line, that who's really going to go get it. So I'm prepared for that.
And then last thing for me, the main event, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. They battle for the bantamweight title. Who do you think wins and how?
I think Sterling wins. I think, is a much stronger grappler. Not to say O'Malley isn't capable. He definitely is. His striking is always on point. And every time I kind of think he's going to lose a fight, he comes out and looks really good. So I think it'll be a very interesting fight, very entertaining fight. I do think Sterling's going to win that, though. He's looked, really good and really on point everywhere his last few fights. So I think he'll shine through for that.
Austin, over here to your right. Your fight against Rowe on the show, on the episode, Dana kind of had some fairly harsh words about the fight itself. I guess, what was the learning lesson for you to kind of take away? You won, so that's obviously great, but was there anything from hearing what he said that you could take away from to improve going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it's important to make the boss happy. I personally thought it was a very tactical, technical fight. I get the criticism, you got to take the good with the bad. And I definitely heard what he said, and I'm, trying to grow from that and expand on that and make sure he'll be happy with my performance in this final.
And some of the things that were said on that show and just talking to some of your other cast members, it seemed like maybe the thought was that you and Roe had obviously trained together quite a bit and that there was a lot of respect between you guys knowing each other's abilities. So was that part of what was going on that night, you think?
Yeah, I think that's a big part. Like, we were literally main training partners through this whole process. We were bunk mates through this whole process. And on top of that, I mean, he's a very good fighter, and I feel like I'm a very good fighter. It's not always easy just to go out there and finish the guy. Like, obviously I want to finish him. I don't want to be in here getting hit and kicked, and I want to get out as soon as possible. But realistically, fights don't always go that way. Yeah.
You have a pretty good opportunity here to kind of put that into practice because you're fighting Kurt. So I guess, how do you channel that and kind of change things for this fight? Because I'm assuming you and Kurt were fairly friendly and went together as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We were. I taking some, advice from the boss and just making sure I bring the aggression I best I can. And it also helps that we didn't have to train together all camp long. And, we've been in our home gyms and away from each other, not living together, seeing each other every day at home and in practice and things along that line. So, yeah.
Austin, over here to your left. Kurt was in there earlier, and he said that when he trained with guys in the house, he purposely wouldn't show everything and almost would want to pretend he had certain weaknesses that isn't there. Two questions. Did you do the same? And what weaknesses do you see based on the training?
Yeah, I could see that I think he, held back a little bit in training because, obviously he looked really good his second fight. I always train hard. In my mind, I didn't care who was watching because they have to go out there and try beating me at the end of the day. So take your notes, watch what you want to watch, do what you want to do. I'm still going to do the best that I can at all times and be as prepared as I can at all times. And you got to try come and take it from me. So, and I'm confident in what I can do. So, I didn't really care to do that in practice. But matchup wise, I think it'll be a fun fight. He's obviously a good striker. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu guy. I do feel like I have a little bit more of a athletic edge and a more scramble ability and movement on the ground that could give him problems in this matchup. But I think overall it's going to be a really fun fight.
Another thing he said, when you get in the house, you size up everybody. I'm assuming you did the same thing. When you did that, was Holobaugh the person you expected to see in the finals now?
No. Honestly, I thought Roe and I were going to be in the finals. I felt like, and I'm not taking anything away from any of the other competitors. They're all very good. I just felt like him and I were kind of the top two in that they would have put us on opposite sides and, give us the chance to meet in the finals. But that's not the way it worked out. And, Kurt's good. He deserves to be here as well, just like any of them, it could have been here. So, yeah.
And my last question, one of the themes of this show was, second chances. Guys, half the guys already been in the UFC. What are you doing? What did you learn from the first stint that's going to make you more successful in the second stint in the UFC?
Yeah. So the first time around, I felt like I held a lot of pressure onto myself, and it kind of, hindered me a little bit. I feel like people look at me as a slow starter, and I think that was due to the pressure I put on myself, and that does kind of make you a slow starter a little bit. And I feel like I've gotten over that, and I'm just a completely different person than who I was, 2 years ago when I was last in the UFC, through everything that I've gone through in my personal life, as well as, learning and growing from the first stint and then the time away and everything else. I just feel like I can put everything together how I need to, and I'm ready to make what I wanted the first time around, the second time around that. So, yeah.
Hey, Austin, over here. So I just want to know, what was it like to watch Kurt and Jason fight in person? Because on TV, it was one of the most like brutal fights ever. There was no commentary, no crowd noise, no coaching. So what was it like to be there in person, front row?
Yeah, man. Kurt was cracking him. I was like, man, you better move your head or something. It was a great fight. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised by his performance. He did such a great job. Jason's tough. Kurt's tough, and I thought it was going to be a little bit more back and forth, and Kurt just took that over and dominated, to his credit. So, yeah, it was a good performance by him for sure.
And then how excited are you to have your corner back? And who made the trip with you? Who's going to be in the corner?
Yeah, I'm very excited, and Vinny Lopez and Cody Donovan. Neil Magny was going to be in my corner, but he's fighting on the card now. He says he's still going to come out and corner me, so it'll be fun. I'm excited.
And then last one from me, Brad or Cody, who do you got in the bantamweight final?
They're both talented. I am leaning towards Cody though. I think he has the attributes, his length and his size, I think will give Brad some troubles. And I don't know, I just feel like he's just a little better. But they're both good. It'll be a good fight.